This was a huge weekend for Tesla and the electric car movement in general. Tesla had finally reached the 5,000 car per week rate, and this wasn't just on the last day. They're saying they made over 5,000 cars in the last week, so this is great. 7,000 cars total per Elon Musk's tweet. We're going to talk about this. Is the only topic I want to talk about today because this is huge. So we're going to get going right now.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world,
Thank you to those of you watching me live on Patreon. You can join me here on patreon.com/E4Electric. If you're watching me on YouTube in the replay, welcome. Please consider subscribing so you don't miss anything moving forward. And this way you'll be up to date on everything that's going on in the universe of electric cars. All right, let's get going. This is huge. You know, it's been almost a year since Tesla started production of Model 3. I know we're talking about a 6-month delay by now, but they did it. I have to say that it didn't look that great in the last few days, and I really thought they were going to reach the production rate, their goal just in the last day, just to make that rate that last day. However, they beat that expectations of a lot of people, so yeah, I believe they made 5,031 cars total. The Model 3, of course, a lot of it was made in the tent. Now I have to say I visited the Tesla factory 3 times within those 24 hours. One time it was 3 a.m. in the morning and the whole parking lot was full, trucks going in and out. I mean, they were obviously working throughout the night. Now they do have 3 shifts, so that's, you know, we knew that. On top of that, we also know that yeah. So the second time I visited, it was during the day. It was also very full. I think I got caught in the middle of a shift change because there were a lot of traffic going around it. They were obviously working really hard. And then I visited it yesterday after they announced that they achieved this goal, and it was like literally empty. Everyone went home. I know a lot of people pulled like overtime and double time, I'm assuming, so they went home. I'm going to assume they're not going to reach the same rate next week because, I mean, they're really obviously pushing real hard. And we're going to talk about a few other things that, you know, are still on their to-do list, really. There were some haters, I have to say. There were some haters. This is I believe he's a CEO of Europe of Ford. Not sure how Ford gets to talk smack today, but all right, we'll talk about that. But we kind of started to realize that they were able to achieve this because some of this image got posted by one of the employees, but then they were taken down. I think Electric was the one who posted this image first, and then there were pictures of the employees celebrating with it. Bunch of pictures they posted on their Twitter. Couldn't find Elon anywhere here. I kind of wish he was there because, you know, these are the people that he spent, I guess, the last week sleeping and showering with, right? So yeah, but this is huge. Now let's. By the way, before I continue, let me just mention to you guys that the show and this video is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. The discount code is in the description of this video, so you can save yourself a few bucks when you shop there. All right, here's why this is a big deal, and maybe I don't even need to tell you guys this, but you know, electric cars have not been a thing in the beginning when you know, Nissan Leaf came out but Tesla, and even when Tesla the Roadster came out, right, it was just kind of an exotic, too expensive and stuff like that, right? Then the Model S came out, and this actually looked like a regular car. It was amazing. I still believe this is the #1 best car in the world. I'm so happy I own both of them. However, both of them, I should have 2 of them. They made more than 2, right? I own 2 of them. So, but you know, it was still very expensive. Yeah, maybe in Silicon Valley here, most people can afford it, or a lot of people can afford it. But in the real world, in reality, this is still a lot of money for the car. And now I know people were catching up with plug-in hybrids, you know, other manufacturers and some other electric cars like Chevy Bolt, but it's just none of them are just a breakthrough car, right? That people would just absolutely love, except for this one, right? The Model 3, it was supposed to be that car that will put the electric cars on the map. It's relatively affordable. It will be more affordable once they come, you know, actually start selling 35,000 dollar version of it. After that, once those cars will become used and will be sold as used in another 2 or 3 years. And you know, obviously, as you know, even though it's been a year since they started production, there were a lot of delays, and a lot of it is unfortunately self-inflicted wound. I really think that Elon should have never settled his goals and at least been, you know, I wish it wasn't as public, because obviously everything just kind of went under microscope and all of this. Look how many negative news I had to report on throughout this journey, right? So, but it is here. The production is now ramped up. Now, I know he says they're going to produce 6,000 per week by the end of next month. I don't know why he does it to himself, but hey, listen, that's good. Of course, they still need to figure out what they're going to do with a tent. I'm assuming you can't just keep making cars on a tent. They're going to, at some point, move it into the facility. Of course, they still need to sustain it. The quality needs to be good. They're saying that the quality is just as good as they were making 1 or 2 months ago, but at the same time, there are reports coming out that, you know, they're still figuring out how to make this car. They're still, I believe they dropped out of 5,000 welding points, decided that 300 of them were not really necessary. I hope that was a good decision. Obviously, they're trying to speed up production. Hopefully, it's not at the cost of quality. So, I mean, even with Model S, you know, my Model S is once again today going in for the service for the 3rd time. My 2 cars were in service for the last 2 weeks. And I'm being told that, you know, hey, we have a new part. This part is new. This part is being done differently now. So they're still figuring out how to even make the Model S. So all of that, of course, needs to consistently improve. At some point, they need to kind of settle down on how to make this car and all of their cars. Now, there are a lot of other things that you know, we need to talk about. Of course, they just announced their total numbers for the quarter. And they are good. They made about 11,000 of Model S's and Model X's, 11 L11. And then the rest, I believe, 28,500 or so of Model 3s. I'm sorry, those were deliveries. There's still a bunch of them still in transit, of course, because of the ramp up. What we don't know yet is whether or not they hit their 200 car made in June, or is going to be happening in July. Now, we won't know that until probably the next few days, until they really announce it, because we don't know how many cars were delivered in Canada. But InsideEVs.com, this is the site that does a great job in keeping sales and delivery numbers for pretty much all manufacturers throughout the world. Even though they're saying that they're still going to wait for Tesla's official word, they're saying that their prediction, for now at least, looks like the Tesla did sell their 200th car in June, which means that the phase out would have been, now we're basically in the middle of the first stage then. You know, a lot of us hope that they were going to delay some of the deliveries. I know we're going to hit them a little bit in terms of sales numbers, maybe even a lot. But you know, 3 months worth of incentives would have really helped, especially people who are trying to buy a Model 3. There is a new bill introduced in a committee, I believe in Senate here in the United States, that will actually remove that threshold, because really the 2 companies they're going to be hitting it this year, Tesla and GM, both American companies. So and literally this law is kind of this limitation is kind of punishing the company literally for being the first to innovate, first to try to invest into this. As we know, GM is still losing money on their Bolt. You can kind of argue that Tesla's been losing money on their cars. So hopefully they will remove that limit. As a matter of fact, they are trying to make it into a rebate rather than the tax credit. And so we'll see what happens. It was just introduced, so we'll definitely going to root for it. But essentially, logically, yeah, you know, if it's an American company that's making cars here, especially like Tesla, punishing them for innovation, obviously, I think would be, you know, not good. And I hope they do something about it. So yeah, so this is, you know, this is great news. Now let's talk about that tweet from that Ford guy. I mean, he pointed out that they make 7,000 cars in about 4 hours, so not in a week. But I mean, I can't believe the Ford executive is talking smack here, because I mean, let's just set aside the fact that they've been making cars for an extra 100 years, more than Tesla, and they have dozens of factories. And they're making pretty much no electric cars on top of that. But these are the guys who just announced that they're no longer going to be making sedans. You know, those cars that Tesla pretty much makes a lot of now because they can't sell them. Right? And obviously Ford has never been, and no one ever said, oh man, my dream car is a Ford, right? This never happened. And there's no 500,000 people in line. I believe right now there's still 420,000 people that are holding their reservations for the Model 3. Tesla believes it's going to grow and grow because they probably, once these cars are going to be on the road and the showrooms and people will be able to drive them, they believe the demand will still exceed their production rate. And I believe them. I believe so. The only thing that will slow it down probably is once they announce the Model Y. That's supposed to be a more popular even than Model 3. So yeah, I'm not really sure how he gets to talk about it. And it's gonna, this tweet is going to sound and look pretty fun in another couple of years, I think. Not sure what he was thinking, but I have to say, I was going to introduce a hater of the week segment. Well, this would be the first submission for that one, right? And you guys some of you guys calling me a Tesla hater. Anyway, listen, this is great news. This is, something that a lot of us have been waiting for a long time. Also, this is the first time in about a year that Elon actually kept his promise. Achieve his own goal. I wish he would stop doing it, setting goals when he doesn't need to set goals, but whatever, whatever, that's his thing. I personally, again, think that he should just not do that. But this is huge, guys. This is huge. I'm also looking forward to your comments in the section. Yes, I know there's still a lot of work to be done here, and I just, I told you what they are, but this is really big. I think this is the type of the day that a lot of us were, kind of looking forward to for a while now, because, we knew that Model 3 was coming many years ago, and this is the time when they finally got this done. And it looks like, once they stabilize the production rate, this is going to be it. This is the lineup that Tesla is going with right now at its full capacity until they build another factory, most likely in China, and start producing Model Y. This is Tesla for the next few years, and this is definitely exciting. All right, guys, this is it for me. Obviously, we're going to be talking about it probably throughout the week, so this is not the last time. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe. Of course, the button is right there. It's free. See you next time, and remember to stay charged.